Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg is with us now, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Pence and President Trump and co-chair of the Center for American Security. And, sir, good morning to you. We rely on you to help piece this together. Do you believe these reports? Do you buy it?
Yeah, Bill, if you're talking about the leadership and the misinformation, absolutely. Look, they may have been reading our news reports, too. Remember, our own chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Mark Milley, in public testimony said Kyiv would fall within 3 days. Look, warfare is a human endeavor, and they make all the flaws and mistakes as it goes forward. But when you look at Putin's primary staff, they're really not well versed in combat. Look at Shoigu. His Secretary of Defense is really a politician. Gerasimov, the equivalent of our Mark Milley, their chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he wrote their common doctrine that they're fighting under. But the doctrine they started to fight with is a defensive doctrine. It is not an offensive doctrine. And that's why I said weeks ago he did not have the troops to task or the plan to even go far to the west past the Dnieper River. They did not concentrate their efforts on the primary mission, which should have been to take Kyiv and decapitate or eliminate the government. They just didn't do it. And to me, Bill, they violated something that I learned as a second lieutenant and all military officers have done over probably the last 30 decades, because it goes back to a Chinese strategist called Sun Tzu that we all had to read as a young lieutenant that says very simply, you know yourself, you know your enemy, you're going to win all your battles. You know yourself, you don't know the enemy, you're going to win about 50. You don't know yourself, you don't know the enemy, you're going to lose them all. And I think his military advisors forgot to read that book and didn't talk to Putin. I remember that public display he had when he had his CIA director, Narishkin, where the guy could barely talk to Putin. And I don't think Putin has got very good input. So has he gotten bad advice? Yeah. Have they been afraid to talk to him? Yeah, they have. And they really underestimated their opponent in Zelensky and the Ukrainian forces. But it all adds up together. I am not surprised at all that they have failed, and they will continue to fail, and they're on the very edge of losing this battle and losing this war.
The Pentagon's talking a lot about integrated deterrence, and Congressman Mike Gallagher asked DOD about that yesterday at a hearing. Watch here.
So you as a combatant commander felt you were part of a interagency effort intended to deter Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine?
That's correct. Deter and dissuade.
Would it be fair to say that deterrence failed in Ukraine?
I can't argue with your conclusion.
All right, so we all know that. Okay, so then what do we do going forward? I read that Wagner Group, that private group, which finds all of these fighters from around the world, are regrouping because, as the UK spy chief said, some of these Russian soldiers have sabotaged their own equipment. They've tried to walk away. So Wagner, I guess, is going to try to fill the void for Putin?
Yeah, the Wagner Group is actually under the control of a guy named Prigozhin, who's actually was basically the Putin's chief chef years ago. And he put together this mercenary group, former military. They're good, but they're not that good. We whacked them in Syria. When they came across and tried to attack some of our special operations troops, we killed, he says we killed 5. We probably killed closer to 200 at the time. But they're a very disciplined group. They're not as well trained as maybe their military is, but they're mercenaries. But anytime you put mercenaries into the field and you put them combined with regular military forces, there's a friction there. They will not work well together. They do not understand combined arms, and this is a combined arms fight. So you're looking at an organization that is really good as infantry, but not to fight the big fights, and they're at a distinct disadvantage.
That's good to know.
General, if it is true that Russia's moving troops back in the Belarus to resupply, would this not be a good time to have those fresh MiGs on behalf of your Air Force if you're fighting for Ukraine? Would they not be a prime target, General?
Yeah, Bill, this is absolutely insane that we haven't given them the MiGs. There's 29, give or take 1 or 2, that we should have gotten from Poland. But there's a lot of things we should have done. We're still waiting for the S-300 air defense umbrella to put over the West. We should have gone to those NATO countries, Bulgaria, Slovakia, and Greece, and said, give us those and we'll backfill them with Patriots if need to. We didn't do that. And then I looked at the list of equipment we've given to The Ukrainians, we said 100 drones, and we called the Switchblade drones, which are good, but 100, we should be giving them thousands, because this is a drone-based war, and they're using them very well. And we should have given them the Switchblade 600s, which can take out a tank. We haven't done that. I have no idea why we're not pushing that equipment forward. It's almost like we're asking, Zelensky to kind of say, well, kind of calm it down, let's go for a draw. He has an ability to go for the win, and we should help him go for the win.
General Keith Kellogg, thank you so much.
Thank you, General. Nice to see you today.
Take that, Bill.
Well, back home.